What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Foot and Fist Sports Network. We're going to be talking about the huge news in the football world. I mean, needless to say, there's some people that are going to be fucking shocked about this. Neymar has left Barcelona, one of the top three biggest clubs in the world, to go to PSG, who isn't exactly a major club, at least historically. Obviously, they are, I think, the 10th most rich club in football, but at the end of the day, money isn't the only thing. And that is something that people have been spouting out about Neymar, and myself personally, I do have a tendency to believe that these Brazilian players, and most players in general, but in particular, if you look at the history with South American players, they tend to go where the money takes them. And to be honest with you, I think that probably has a big factor in what is up with Neymar. I do think that the fact that he's going to be making about 520,000 euro a week after taxes has a major effect, but any player would be basically Googleized if they had that fucking offer on the table. I mean, except for maybe Ronaldo or Messi, because they can pretty much make that money just by demanding it from their club. I think that anybody else would probably move for that amount of money, because that gives you so much more than you could possibly imagine when it comes to a financial security basis. Especially a guy like Neymar, who has had some problems with taxes and stuff like that in the past. Money's going to be a big thing. Money is definitely going to be a big thing. But allegedly, he went to PSG for the football reasons, because at Barcelona, he feels like he is sort of gifted in the sense that not only is he such an amazing talent, but at Barcelona he is surrounded by talents, in some cases like Messi, that are actually superior to him. So he wants a bigger challenge. At least that's what he said. He wants a bigger challenge, and honestly, as a man, I could respect that. I could respect him wanting to go to PSG, mixing up I guess you could say, the power rankings in world football, and trying to achieve something great with a club that hasn't really historically achieved great things. Yes, now they have money, but other than when Ronaldinho was there wasn't anybody really talking about PSG. So if he can go out there and win the Champions League with PSG, that would be probably one of the biggest feathers in the cap of his career so far. I mean, without a doubt, winning the Champions League with PSG would be huge for him. I mean, who the fuck is on that? Ibrahimovic wasn't able to do that. Of course, Ibra's never won the Champions League, so he was probably cursed. But there's been some great players at PSG over the past few years, and none of them have even gotten PSG close to winning the Champions League. So if he is able to do that, and let me tell you right now, he has the quality to take Barcelona to the final of the Champions League, then that would be one of the biggest achievements of any man's career in football. Now, we already know what Neymar gets. He has a ton of money, and he has a chance to achieve even more greatness, because he's already won the Champions League with Barcelona. He's already won La Liga. He's pretty much won everything he could possibly win with Barcelona, and he got really close to winning the World Cup with Brazil, even though he got injured, and that sort of, I don't think he would have beaten Germany, even if Neymar was there, but obviously that was a bit of a problem for Brazil. And excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water. I do believe that Neymar is probably going there for the right reasons, just based on what he's been saying, and we'll see down the line. We'll see down the line if like a bigger offer comes along and maybe a bigger club offers him. But I like what he said. He said that if he was there for just the money, he probably would have gone to a different club in a different country, which I'm assuming means China, because everybody knows that the Chinese clubs would be desperate to sign a player of his caliber. Luckily for everybody else who enjoys football, that didn't happen. He went to PSG. Now, what does PSG get out of it? I've been seeing a lot of people talking about, like, it's such a crazy fucking amount of money. It's dumb. There's too much money in football, and that is true. All that is true. It is crazy how much money is being spent on Neymar, but if you look at how much money's been spent on players in general, and honestly, in other sports, it's the same thing. You can't just say it's football. In other sports, like the NBA, Steph Curry, I think, has been making like $200 something million in like a 5-year span. So there's so much money in all of the major sports nowadays, in the NFL and all that stuff. There's so much money. So it's not a football problem. It's a sports problem. The world is just out there. It's just so fucking crazy with how much money these athletes get. But you can't blame the athletes, and you can't blame the clubs for trying to take as much money as they can, make as much money as they can off these players. And that leads me into what I want to mean, and into what I want to get. That leads me to the point I want to get across, which is Neymar, apart from what he brings to the table as a footballer, which is top 3 in the world quality football, he also brings such a huge commercial attraction. If you look at him, he's probably one of the top 5 most marketable footballers of all time. He's young. He's a good-looking guy. All the ladies love him. He's Brazilian, so he has the Joga Bonito way. His style of football is also very attractive. And just overall, he is even sponsored by fucking Jordan. He's sponsored by Air Jordan, which I think is the only footballer to ever have been sponsored by Air Jordan. That tells you exactly what type of a market he's working with. He's working with a completely different market than most footballers work with. He's working with possibly even the young African American public, because everybody fucking loves Jordans. If they see a guy like Neymar who he was wearing Jordans, they might look at him up. And people who generally are going to be more interested in like basketball, football, and stuff like that. And obviously, everybody loves football, whatever race you are. I'm not trying to say that this is a racism thing. I'm just saying that the fact that he's even sponsored by Air Jordan shows that he could possibly attract a different market than what he would usually attract. There's a lot of times, basketball fans are going to cross over to football and stuff like that. So there's something to take into consideration there. PSG are getting someone who's going to attract so much money to them. They're going to be bringing in so much money based on shirt sales and just how big of a name Neymar is. Their club, apparently, according to the owner, I can't remember exactly, it's Al something, because he's an Arab, he's a Qatari. Apparently, their club has gone from $1 billion of value, or euro, whatever it is, to $1.5 billion just from when they announced the signing of Neymar. That already has recouped the amount of money that they spent on Neymar and actually doubled it. I mean, that's exactly why they got him. They didn't get him because of the fact that on the pitch he's going to be able to possibly lead them to a Champions League final and possibly even win that. No, they got him because of the fact that, listen, they're making an investment, they're spending a ton of money, but at the end of the day, they're going to make up that money, they're going to make so much more than what they spent. Because if you look at what happened with Paul Pogba with Man United, yes, we spent like 100-something million euro on him, but at the end of the day, they made that money in, what was it, like a month? Maybe even less? They made all that money back just based on shirt sales and the fact that Ibrahimovic was there. So make no mistake about it. Now that PSG have Neymar, and if they are able to also sell a few players like Aurier, who is a player who's definitely going to be on his way out because of Dani Alves being at the club, which is probably going to be like a 30 to 40 million pound transaction, they already make up some money, and they have so many good players there that if they want to sell some, they could easily do that. So make no mistake about it, they aren't going to have any problems paying what they've paid for Neymar. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be successful. They're going to make more money than they spent, and overall, this is going to be a huge, huge deal for the future of PSG, because if you look at what they've been over the past few years, they haven't really been a team that strikes fear in the big European giants. They kind of remind me of Manchester City, a team who spends a lot of money and does very well in their domestic leagues, but they don't have the Champions League prowess that it takes to be able to really compete or at least strike fear in teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. And now that PSG have actually stolen one of Barcelona and the world's top 3 players, all bets are off. PSG are now really among the giants of European football because they really send a message to Barcelona. Just because you're Barcelona, that does not mean that your players are off limits. If we have the money to buy somebody and the player is willing to come to us, there's nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And this is why teams are kind of dumb in certain degrees for putting in release clauses. Now, if Neymar hadn't had a release clause, PSG probably would have had to spend more. They probably wouldn't have gotten their man. Because of the fact there was a release clause, they were able to spend that money. There was nothing Barcelona could do about it. If Neymar wanted to accept the contract, that was it. And that's exactly what happened. Barcelona absolutely got roasted. They got fucked in the ass. And it's actually pretty fun to see because usually Barcelona are the people who, through dirty tactics and through the fact that they are such a big club, they are able to acquire players from different teams and a lot of times from their main rivals, and that really is kind of trash. But the fact that PSG did a Barcelona to them, that's just magical. I mean, personally, being a neutral fan in this situation, because I'm not a PSG supporter, I'm not a Barcelona supporter, I'm just a football supporter. I'm a Man United supporter first and foremost, but this doesn't really affect us except for the Champions League, and I don't expect this to really be competing for the Champions League this season anyway. I expect maybe quarterfinals. So from a football standpoint, I think this is tremendous. I think this is amazing, and I really do have. I'm grateful to Neymar, and I'm also I have a lot of respect for what he's doing if he is indeed going there for sporting reasons. But I'm very grateful because of the fact that he has completely shifted the power rankings, like I said in world football. Barcelona now obviously have a huge war chest of money they can now spend. Like, are they going to try to sign Paulo Dybala? Go for it. Are they going to try to sign just about anybody else in the world? Go for it. As long as they don't come for any of our players, which I don't think they're really interested in that because we don't have any players that fit their system, then I have no problem with it. I want to see exactly who Barcelona bring in, and more importantly, I want to see what PSG can do with Neymar. Is Neymar going to be able to achieve one of the hugest feats any athlete or any footballer has ever achieved by taking a team like PSG, who yes has a lot of money and has some really quality players, but aren't really a huge club, because if you look at who wins the Champions League, especially in like the last 20 years since the real Champions League era, it's always the same few teams. Real Madrid have won it a bunch of times, Liverpool won it once, I think, and Milan won it a couple times, United won it once, Barcelona won it a few times. It's always the same few teams. Bayern Munich. There's no real variety. Can PSG with Neymar throw a wrench in there and really change the shape of world football? I mean, it's going to be very difficult, because obviously one man can't really dismantle what Barcelona and Real Madrid are, what Bayern Munich are. But we've seen with Juventus, a team that has a lot of great players, but none that are really, really, really elite. This maybe Higuain, Dybala, who's a future elite player, but there's really not some like massively dominant force in that team. Now PSG have that. And PSG, if you look at their roster, from having players like Thiago Silva, Marco Verratti if he doesn't leave, now Neymar, having Cavani, they have an amazing roster. And if they can add a few more pieces of that puzzle and really bring in some good players, there's a massive chance, and even Dani Alves nowadays also won it, there's a massive chance that they could also go in there and win the Champions League. Because if you look at what they're doing, they aren't building just a team of Galacticos. They aren't building in just a bunch of huge name players. They're bringing in a few guys that have really, really big names, but are also really good players, great players, and in some cases, and they're mixing them in with players who are hungry, some players that are a little bit over the hill but are experienced, know what it takes to win the Champions League, like Dani Alves. So they're really building a dangerous roster, and they are building for right now. They aren't building for the future. They aren't building for the past. They're building for right fucking now. And that's something that's very dangerous with Neymar at the helm of the club. So much can go in PSG's favor. You never know what the fuck's going to happen, especially because whether you like it or not, he's a master dive artist. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what happens if he could possibly win some PSG penalties and, just sort of cheat his way like he has done over the years. And he has sort of reduced what he does in terms of diving, but at the end of the day, the apple doesn't fall from the tree. He's going to keep doing it. In Italian they say the wolf never loses his fur. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Neymar. I personally think, like I said, it's going to be a hugely positive thing for football in general, because now Barcelona, they don't have the dominance they used to have when it comes to keeping their players, and they don't have anywhere near the power that they had with Neymar. Because regardless of who you bring in, I don't really think it's going to be a solid replacement on the same level as Neymar. Even if you bring in Dybala, who is a very talented player and over the next few years could be one of those great players in the world, I don't think it's going to be Neymar, because Neymar right now is already in the running for a Ballon d'Or every single year. So, I mean, whatever Barcelona do, it's not necessarily going to guarantee them that they're going to be as good as they were with Neymar on the team. So let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Let me know if you think my opinion is crazy. What do you think of the price? What do you think of Neymar moving to PSG? Is it good for football, or is it bad? Do you think that he's only going there for the money, or is he going there for the reason that he actually said, which is just to have a bigger challenge? And most importantly, guys, what do you think is going to happen? Is PSG going to achieve greatness and win the Champions League, or are they going to continue to struggle and reach at best the semifinals? Let me know all these things in the comment section down below. I'm very curious to know what the football community is going to be thinking about this, because it really is a huge story in world football, and it really is going to be attracting, with a domino effect of players coming in. Who's Barcelona going to sign? If they sign Dybala with over 150 million pounds or euro, who is Juventus going to sign? Who's going to whatever team sells a player to Juventus, who the fuck are they going to buy? There's so much that could happen now after this, and there's still today's August 4th, so there's still a fucking month pretty much of transfers. It's going to be huge. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And one more thing, as you can probably see if you have been watching more of my videos, I tend to keep the camera a bit farther away from me, but that way I can give myself a better chance, make it a bit easier to have bigger pictures of things in the corners and stuff like that. But I wanted to make it a little bit closer. You can be a bit more close up to me, as if you were talking to me face to face, really close. Let me know if you like this camera angle more. Do you like it farther away? Am I too ugly to be this close? Let me know in the comment section down below. Or am I just so fucking cute that you want me to be even closer? Let me know, guys, in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, my brothers. What the fuck was that? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace out.